Good morning and welcome back to Garden Bug Poetry. Our poem today, as promised, is Bacon and Pancakes. An ode to syrup by any other name. I dance with 2 strips in each hand at the diner for fame. I leave the eggs and potatoes in shame. I am for bacon and pancakes. Leave no remains, but the stripes of the wipes of my fingers to claim that this meal is my meal, and I want more of the same. So have you ever been to a good diner that's got big breakfasts and so forth? There's a poem in honor of that. We have our own. We go to Beechwold Diner all the time and get all manner of pancakes and bacon and fun stuff to eat. So the lesson for today is about food and art, really. One of the things when you end up going to school for writing is you study all these different kinds of art forms and study architecture and fashion and music and all of these things that are the arts that sort of inform each other. But we never really studied food, and I think food is the great cooking of food, big meals, really intricate recipes and baking and different things like that is a form of art as well. One of the things that we would learn was that architecture and fashion were sort of always leading the way in terms of art, but I'd say consider food. Consider the presentation and the making of it and the enjoyment that comes from eating a really good meal. It's the same thing you get from reading a really great poem. It's fulfillment. So paying attention to poetry and food in the same way, it makes sense to me, especially with the training I've gone through in terms of studying different kinds of art and things like that. So you might be thinking about your mac and cheese and chicken nuggets and things like that as just, it's what I have for lunch, but maybe there's a really awesome sauce to dip it in, or maybe there's something, a presentation, maybe they're dinosaur chicken nuggets. Think about exactly how much fun and joy and presentation comes with food. So consider food and cooking and things, an art form, the same way that we've been talking about poetry, right? So the lesson today is to think about food, think about different kinds of art, and think about the way that you can use them to inform your own writing, to inform your drawing and your painting, your dancing, all of those things. Everything that is an expression of yourself can be interconnected. Those different art forms really play into each other. And I found that within my own writing. Studying different kinds of music and studying plays and novels and things. I mostly write just poetry, but all of your writing can be informed by these different kinds of art. And I honestly think cooking and food and things like that, even if it's a sort of a temporary art form, because we eat it, we literally consume our food the way we consume a little bit different the way we consume other art forms. But I'd say consider your food and consider poetry and your food at the same time. So that leads us to the prompts for the day. Prompt number 1 for the younger kids. Write a poem about your favorite food. The poem I read today is about my kids' favorite foods when we go to the diner. There's lots of food at our table, but bacon and pancakes, there's almost a celebration. Yes, the tiger gentleman behind the camera is faking like he's eating bacon and pancakes. Just the mention of it has got him going. And for the older kids, write a poem where you cook something. There are certain poems you can find that are sort of recipes, sometimes actual cooking, sometimes emotional or action or different things where you're talking about the creation of something, right? The right recipe. So older kids, write a poem where you're cooking something, making something with food, and make that the poem. So younger kids, write a poem about your favorite food. Older kids, write a poem where you cook something and make the process of making the food a big part of the poem, if not the poem itself, right? Lots of good action words in cooking and fire and taste and sight and different descriptors you can use. It'll work well. And once you write the poem, if you like this prompt or any of the other prompts, please do send in your poem to gardenbugpoetry@gmail.com. We always get excited when they show up in the inbox, and we'll make sure to read them as soon as they come in. Anyway, so we have a new poem today, read by our tiger gentleman, Thomas, and he'll be right up next.
I'm going to read Not a Silly Poem. Not a silly poem. This is not a silly poem. It has a spider. Ah! Ah! A spider! Thank you.
Didn't quite know when performance poetry was going to show up on Garden Bug Poetry. So thank you to Thomas for his interactive piece. So I hope everyone's doing well. This is still sort of at the beginning of this week. I hope wherever you are, it's a beautiful day. I hope you're staying healthy, staying ornery. Please send us any of the poems from our prompts. We've got, this is video 12 or 13 or something like that, so we've got plenty of prompts. Send in whichever one catches your fancy to gardenbugpoetry@gmail.com, and we'll make sure to give it a read. We will see you tomorrow morning. Thanks for joining us. Garden Bug Poetry.